The 2022 NFL season is well in the books, and we're about to break down the top 5 QBs who straight up killed it this season on the field. We all know the deal. QB is the most important position in football. I mean, it's not like the other positions matter at all, right? Anyway, the 2022 season had some serious QB talent, and we're about to count down the top 5 guys. These guys made it rain on the field, breaking records and slinging touchdowns like it was no big deal. From slinging passes to scrambling for yards, they know how to get the job done. We've crunched the numbers and scoured the highlights to bring you the best of the best. But before we dive into the top 5, let's give a shout out to the honorable mentions. These QBs may have not made the cut, but they still had a killer season. Starting off, we can talk about Geno Smith for a sec. This dude straight up shocked everyone during the 2022 NFL season. He's a former second-round pick, but he's never really had a chance to show what he's made of being hidden behind starting quarterbacks, until now. Smith led the NFL in completion rate, and the Seahawks offense was lit, ranking in the top 10. That's some serious clout, but let's get into the stats. Smith put up some insane numbers this season: 4,535 yards, 32 touchdowns, and only 12 interceptions. Plus, he ran for almost 400 yards, and he even got a rushing TD. Like, what? Smith proved he's not just a backup QB. He's the real deal. Sure, he had a bit of a rough patch towards the end of the season, losing 5 out of 8 starts, but he kept fighting and even managed to get the Seahawks into the playoffs. That's some serious grit, if you ask me. Now, Smith's got the starting job on lock for another season, but here's the catch. He's going to need to get paid like a Pro Bowl QB, not a backup. And that's some serious bank. But after the season he just had, he deserves it. Next up, we've got Jared Goff. Yes, he had his ups and downs during the 22 NFL season, but he straight up proved that he's the Lions franchise quarterback. He's the former number 1 pick overall, so he's got some serious hype to live up to. But he's been showing that he's worth it. Goff threw for over 4,400 yards and 29 touchdowns with only 7 picks. That's some serious accuracy, even if he didn't exactly light up the field every game. But the real flex is that he didn't throw a single interception after week 9. That's half the season. And that's some clutch performance right there, fam. Goff closed out the season on a high note, winning 8 of his last 10 starts. And that's some serious momentum heading into next season. He's going to be the Lions franchise QB for a while, and honestly, that's a pretty solid move. He led an efficient offense and showed that he's still got room to improve. So watch out, NFL. Jared Goff's gonna keep on rising. Next up, we gotta mention Justin Fields. Fields showed out in 2022, proving he's got the skills he needs to make it in the NFL. He started out a bit shaky, but once the Bears started letting him run the ball, Fields took off. He broke an NFL record for rushing yards by a QB in a single game and ended the season as the 3rd quarterback ever to post 1,000 yards rushing season. And he wasn't just running. Fields completed 67.7% of his passes in his last 7 starts. Sure, he had a rough outing against the Lions, but let's be real, that was a bottom-rate defense. If Fields can keep improving as a passer and get some better weapons around him, he's going to be unstoppable. Keep an eye on this guy, he's going places. Before we huddle up and reveal the top 5 quarterbacks, don't forget to score big by subscribing to our channel. Trust us, you don't want to fumble and miss out on all the great content we have for you. Starting at number 5 is Justin Herbert. He is a straight up gangster when it comes to throwing the ball. Like, playing QB in the NFL is supposed to be difficult, but he makes it look so easy. He simplifies the most complicated parts of the game, and it can be hard to even realize what he's doing until you take a closer look. He just destroys NFL defenses like it's absolutely nothing. I mean, the guy led the NFL in 50-plus yard air distance completion since 2020, which means that even if you think the Chargers backed up, you can never relax because he might just throw it over your head. This season, he played 18 games and had a 67.8 completion rate with over 5,000 passing yards, 26 touchdowns, and 10 interceptions. He didn't run for many yards, but let's be real, that's not really his thing. Despite a tough season battling injuries to his receivers and himself, Herbert still managed to lead the Chargers to a playoff spot. And let's not forget about his quick decision-making skills. Outside of Tom Brady, there's no other quarterback who can go through a progression quicker than Herbert. He can recognize whether a receiver is open or will come open in an instant and act accordingly. With a new offensive coordinator in town, the future is looking bright for Herbert and the Chargers. Yeah, they blew a 27-0 lead in the playoffs, but hey, mistakes happen. I can't wait to see this guy with a little more experience under his belt. At number 4, let's talk about Josh Allen. Allen was on fire, putting up almost 5,000 passing yards with 38 touchdown passes and 17 interceptions in 18 games. His ability to rush for 808 yards and 8 touchdowns on the ground added a new dimension to the Bills' offense. Despite facing various challenges throughout the season, including playing in Detroit due to a snowstorm and dealing with emotional distress after Hamlin's collapse on the field, Allen maintained his performance and led the Bills to their 3rd consecutive AFC East Division title. In addition to his outstanding performance during the 2022 season, Allen has also established himself as an elite quarterback over the past 3 years. He has consistently improved his accuracy, decision-making, and leadership on the field, making him a formidable opponent for any team. His impressive skill set, including his powerful arm and playmaking ability, has made him one of the most dominant quarterbacks in the league today. Overall, Josh Allen's performance during this last season and his consistency over the past 3 has earned him recognition as one of the top quarterbacks in the NFL. With his unique skill set and leadership qualities, he is sure to continue to be a dominant force on the field for years to come. At number 3 up next, we've got Joe Burrow. And he had a dope season in 2022, racking up a massive 5,196 passing yards with 39 touchdowns and only 14 interceptions. He put up 327 rushing yards with 6 more touchdowns on the ground. He played in a total of 19 games, completing 68% of his passes with an average of 7.3 yards per attempt. It was almost enough to take down Patrick Mahomes as the top QB, but the Cincinnati Bengals fell short in the AFC Championship game. Joe Cool started the season off rough, throwing 4 interceptions and losing a fumble in a heartbreaking loss to the Pittsburgh Steelers in overtime. But he bounced back like a champ and set a new NFL record for the most 400-yard games by a player in their first 3 seasons. Despite facing some tough opponents and dealing with a shaky offensive line, Burrow still managed to finish the season ranked 5th in the NFL for both completions and passing yards. He also broke his own record for most touchdown passes in a single season, racking up a total of 35. Burrow led the Bengals to their best season since 2015 with a 12-4 record. In the playoffs, Burrow kept slinging it with 5 wins in his first 3 seasons, second only to Russell Wilson. He helped the Bengals defeat the Baltimore Ravens and Buffalo Bills to make it their 2nd consecutive AFC Championship game. Unfortunately, they lost to the Chiefs in a rematch of last year's AFC Championship. And it wasn't all smooth sailing for Joe Cool, though. He had to deal with injuries to his offensive line and lost his top receiver, Jamari Chase, for 4 weeks. But he still managed to put up big numbers and score more than 35 points in 2 of those 3 wins. With his dead-eye accuracy and a sharp mind, Burrow is one of the toughest playmakers in the league. He just needs to add a little more heat to his fastball to become a truly elite quarterback. Listen, we gotta talk about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is the real deal. He might have lost the Super Bowl, but he put on an amazing show and proved that he's one of the top quarterbacks in the game. He was playing with a bum shoulder and still managed to dominate Kansas City with 3 QB scores on the ground, setting a Super Bowl record. At the beginning of the season, he was on a trial run to keep his job, but he shut down all the haters with his sick skills. He used A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith to unleash a crazy air attack that put other teams to sleep. Plus, he's a beast on the ground with almost 1,000 yards rushing and 18 touchdowns. No one expected him to be a top-ranked QB, but he's become a Pro Bowl talent in just his 2nd full season as a starter. He reminds me of Lamar Jackson when he won MVP in 2019. Hurts might not have won MVP this year, but he took the Eagles to the Super Bowl, which is a huge accomplishment. He's been improving like crazy over the past 5 years, and in 2022, he showed that he's a legit NFL starter. He used to rely on his legs, but now he's making more throws over the middle and giving his talented receiving core a chance to make some plays too. His accuracy might not be perfect, but he's got a sick arm and he's still growing. Don't put a ceiling on what he can do, because he's been proving people wrong for years. At the top of the peak, at number 1, is Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes is the face of the NFL for the new generation. In just 5 years, he's done things that some players will only dream of doing in their entire careers. And get this, 2022 was no different. Mahomes came through with another Super Bowl win and a 14-3 regular season record. His stats for this season? Yeah, crazy good. Like, he threw the most touchdowns in the league, 41, and racked up the most passing yards too, 5,250. And don't forget, he ran for 358 yards and got 6 receiving yards, bringing his total to an NFL record of 5,614 all-purpose yards. But let's be real, Mahomes is way more than just a regular quarterback. He's got the insane ability to read defenses and switch up his game on the fly, making him a constant threat on the field. Extending plays with his mobility and finding open receivers downfield. And have you seen his arm strength? It's ridiculous. Mahomes' style of play is changing the way we see the quarterback position, showing you that you don't have to be all traditional to be great. The record books are not safe with Mahomes around. He's pushing the boundaries and making a name for himself in the game. He's a once-in-a-generation player who's already bagged multiple championships and MVP awards. And he's just getting started. The sky's the limit for this young superstar, and we can't wait to see what he pulls off next. The 2022 NFL season saw some impressive quarterback performances, with many top players showing their skills and leading their teams to victory. As the NFL continues to evolve and change, we can expect to see these quarterbacks and others continue to push the boundaries of what we thought was possible on the football field. With new players emerging and old legends retiring, the landscape of the NFL quarterback position is constantly shifting, making it an exciting time for the fans of the sport. If you want to stay up to date on all the latest news and analysis of the NFL, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.